Hey everyone, I'm sitting here reading my Parenting by the book, chapters on far-sighted parenting. I thought it was really interesting and helpful, so I wanted to share some of the points from this chapter and just kind of, I guess, talk about it. But it's based off of Proverbs 22:6, to train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. And then Proverbs 29:18, that where there's no vision, the people perish. So there's a lot of good, interesting things in this book. And like I said, I just want to share in case anyone's struggling out there with, a vision for their children, because we tend to focus more so on the day-to-day and the short-term things and kind of just reacting to things. At least I'm speaking from my own experiences. And so this is helpful. But basically they're saying, our parenting target, is to raise an adult of right character, morals, and ethics, who loves God, and that they're responsible and compassionate citizens, that they're devoted spouses, and then therefore they'd be able to raise up their children in the way that they should go, so that they would not depart from it, and then so on and so forth. That would really, I think, be ideal. But anyways, so the long-term goals would create responsible adults, their long-term visions. But I think too many of us are focused on the short term, like I said, because we place the importance on skills. So like with 3-year-olds or children especially, we're teaching them, we want them to read and write before they even enter the school year sometimes. And it's like, well, we need to be focusing on their behavior and making sure that they can go to school and sit down and learn. But we place so much emphasis on just their academic skills. And so I think most of us lose sight of the fact that we're trying to raise adults here. And so we don't have a vision of their adulthood, or we kind of lose it in the midst of the day-to-day. So we all say that we want these things when we talk about what we want for our children. We want them to be good people. We want them to be a good contributing part of society, and be able to love people, be trusting, and stay out of jail or prison, and don't be drug addicts. But our day-to-day activities don't support us getting to that long-term vision. So that opened my eyes a little bit, because I think a lot of times we think we're helping our children, and maybe we are in the short term, but it's not. It's setting them up for failure in the long term when we step in and try to do so much for them. Because we need to be able to teach them independence, and how to understand that failure is necessary, so that they can have a sense of accomplishment and drive and ambition. And then when they get to they overcome those problems without their parents' help or intervention, they have that sense of satisfaction and just knowing that they can do all things. So instead of being discouraged by failure, we should be able to try and help them be motivated by it, to keep going and keep trying. So my problem with a lot of this is like, well, what does that look like practically? So he had some good examples in there, like about homework. So his kid would, and I did it too with my first two when they were younger. But it's more like the parents have homework. They'd sit there and either it's a fight to get the kids to sit down and do their homework, or then they're like, oh, I need help. So then essentially, like, the parents end up doing the homework sometimes, or so stressed out about making sure that they get it done, or if they get it done right. So in that sense, if you tell them, look, I'm not helping with your homework, that's on you, and he says, not even ask if they have it. And if they fail their grades, then they'll fail their grades, and maybe do better next time when they realize that they're on their own and it's up to them to get it done. And there's no, I mean, yeah, you can ask for help, but there's a difference between, offering advice or showing them in the way of how to get to the answers versus giving them the answers, or even spending so much time micromanaging and pushing them to get everything right. It causes unnecessary stress. So yeah, I'm thankful that my kids don't have homework anymore, so I don't have to deal with that. But that was an example. So we need to focus. We should be focusing more on their values and not their accomplishments, and more so on their character versus any worldly goods that they, would try to attain. So the fame and fortune and success doesn't mean anything if you're a horrible person that no one wants to spend time with, and you don't really add any value. So, and then the nearsighted goals and ways of parenting, it causes exhaustion. It just takes its toll. That's when people and myself, you'd be like, oh, raising kids is stressful. It's hard. It's taxing, and it's like there's no fun and joy in it. But and that's why I think, because we lose sight of the end goal here and try to maybe do too much, and we kind of have to let some things go, the day-to-day struggles go, So don't sweat the small stuff, and in every decision, try to take actions that would support the adult version that you want to see in your child. So, yeah. And when we, focus on the short term and, assisting them in the short term goals, those are nice, but it just teaches them that to rely on short term gratification. And I think that's a big problem for us in a lot of things, especially with, now we have the technology and fast food. They always say, we want what we want and we want it now. So that's probably something a lot of us parents need to work on also. But yeah, so just, taking a step back and actually letting our children, or not giving them the option to lean on us so much. And then we have to be able to kind of just let them try, let them succeed, let them fail, and be there to support them when those things do happen, and then encourage them in their successes that they worked hard to get to on their own. So, and then so the homework thing, it promotes independence, and it helps them with problem solving. They'll have a greater satisfaction knowing that they were struggling, but then they overcame it and didn't need mom and dad's help or whatever. So there's that. And then so many of us are parents, and my kids aren't in any after school things, and I never was as a kid either, so I can't really relate to this too much, but I can definitely see it. The book, he mentions all the after school activities, like the sports and stuff, and it's just, it takes away from the home time, and it just causes more busyness. And then people would, for sports, they'd be like, oh, well, it's good for them to learn how to be a team player. But yeah, to be a good sports team player, or drama team player, or whatever it is. But what about being a good family team player? Responsibility in the home, and obeying rules, and having respect for authority, and supporting the ones in your family, and being able to get along with your siblings and share. Those are very important things that I think we overlook, or maybe take for granted, and count them as less important than going and being a team player out in with a bunch of other people. Which, I mean, it's good. It's got its own good points, but I think we've lost touch with the home. The home needs to be right first, and I think it's especially hard when we just have single parent homes, it really takes away from that. So I know, especially like with dinner time for me and my kids, sometimes it feels pointless to make us all sit down at the table together and eat a meal. But I know that like when I was with their dad and mealtime, like that's what we're supposed to do, right? Like supposed to sit down at the table and eat together. But now it's like I still do that with them, but you know, they prefer to go off and eat by themselves. A lot of kids I know go and eat in their rooms, and then or we go eat in the living room in front of the TV. But to sit down at the table all together and eat all at the same time, you know, that it lays I think a really strong foundation for family and togetherness and love, and then a time to just disconnect from the world and get back to the people who, you know, check in with those who love and care about you and support you. So I went off there a little bit, but and then like with their social, this whole social statuses with social media, and then just having like cliques and friends in school, and if you're, you know, like if your kid feels like an outsider or they're not good enough, and you know, you can't try to like help them in those areas. All you can do is just encourage them that, you know, you don't need other people's approval. And later in life, I know while you're in school, the school years are really big on, you know, approval and fitting in and all that. But so I tried to tell my oldest daughter already, is like, these people you probably won't, I mean, most of them you probably won't see again after high school. And, you know, each grade changes. Like you make new friends so quick, and, you know, there's new people coming and going all the time. And so it's not that big a deal. Like, just try to take the focus off of so much pressure to fit in, or you know, to get other people's approval. And so when you don't interfere and don't try to help them with those things, I don't even know if kids would want that anymore, but because they're like, no, don't get my parents involved. But anyways, it was just really good stuff to think about, how our day-to-day actions impact the long-term adult that we are helping to form and grow up. So it's really important that we remember to act with that long-term vision in mind. So I'm going to try working on that some more. Especially I noticed like things I could do with each of them in the different stages of their life. So, all right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video somewhat. You learned something, or it was just something you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So you can like, comment, subscribe, whatever you feel led to do. See you next time.